Thank you for joining us for the opening session of the conference on leveling up, shaping India's gaming ecosystem for a global future. Let me invite on stage Mr. Rajan Navani, President, India Digital Gaming Society, Chairman and MD Jetline Group and Founder Jet Synthesis. Sohn, Vice President, India Digital Gaming Society and CEO, KRAFTON India. Mr. Rajeev Nagar, Country Manager, India and SAARC, HUION. Abhishek Binaykia, Partner, Lead Sports Advisory and Technology Advisory, Grand Thornton Bharat. And Amita Sarkar, Secretary General, Indian Digital Gaming Society and Deputy Director General, Confederation of Indian Industry. I now invite Ms. Amita Sarkar for her opening remarks. Thank you.
Hi. I think each one of you are sold to the idea of gaming and know gaming so well. So really nothing much from my side except to say that this is one space where India is very naturally positioned, both from a demand side and a supply side. So while on supply side we have this very good and skilled people in IT, we have, we are building technology, a lot of R&D is happening in so many companies who are exhibiting, some of you who are exhibiting here. And at the same time, there is a tremendous market that exists due to the sheer demographics and the rising and upper middle class and incomes going up, and this entire space being so exciting for people. So I will not even go into the esports, which I really find so very interesting, which there are experts who will talk about it. But I just want to assure and reassure that CII and the Indian Digital Gaming Society, they have identified this space as a very, very, what do I say? Something that's an idea whose time has come. So we can only be not focusing it at our peril. And we don't want to be just consumers. We want to be true participant in this business ecosystem. So all the best to all of you who are doing a lot in the space of gaming. And I look forward now to hearing our experts. May I call Sohn first? Sohn, is Vice President of our India Digital Gaming Society and CEO KRAFTON India. Saw his beautiful pavilion a while back. Sohn? Yeah, Abhishek, request you to please moderate the discussion, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? Look, it's indeed a pleasure to be here today at IDGS 2025, where some of the industry's brightest minds have collected, and we'll hear over the course of the next 3 days their views on what I think is going to be a defining year for the Indian gaming ecosystem. India has seen an unprecedented growth. Now, gaming is not just a niche hobby anymore. It's become a cultural phenomenon. We are seeing gaming industry driving India's digital economy. And if you look at the numbers, India is projected to generate around $9 billion in revenue by 2027 from the gaming industry itself. Right? So what's fueling this growth? One is, obviously, India has 750 million smartphone users. So access to content now is at your fingertips. And that too, not just casual content, but high-end immersive content. The second piece is the data availability. India globally is one of the cheapest, has one of the cheapest mobile data rates in the world. So again, your first-time gamers, your hyperactive gamers have access to a lot of immersive content as well. And our population, 65% of India's population is below 35, so extremely tech-savvy. They're not only just playing games, but are playing a key role in shaping how that industry is going to come up as creators, as developers, and gamers as well. Right? So I think it's a great time for the Indian gaming system, and over the next 40 minutes or so, I will be talking with our esteemed panel, with Rajan, with Sohn, with Rajeev, and we'll get their views on how this is shaping the Indian gaming ecosystem. So Rajeev, we'll start with, Rajan, we'll start with you. So India's gaming industry has seen a rapid growth over the last few years, right? How do you expect, and what do you think are the factors that are going to keep this momentum sustained beyond 2025?
No, thank you, Abhishek. And firstly, let me add to what Amita said. Very warm welcome to all of you. As many of you know, and a lot of friends in the room, I see faces that have been champions of this industry since the time, CII set up the fact that we are going to see gaming as a very large industry from India, both for India as a market and from India for the world. I think both of these are very strong propositions for which I think many of you are here today. So in that context, I wanted to actually mention that what we have seen in the growth over the last, I think the first India gaming show was 2017. And I still remember at that time when the survey was done from a video gaming entertainment industry, there were 80 million gamers in India. Today, all reports suggest that they are close to 500 million, right? So if you look at just the sheer number of people who are lifting a mobile phone or any other device and playing a game, there's been a 4 or 5-fold, growth. Maybe the growth has not been 4x, maybe it's been 3x, but the recorded growth, right? Because maybe there were 100 million that time, but people were not paying attention to the gamer. Today, people are paying attention to the gamer. And I think wherever we go globally, we see tremendous interest, particularly from an India standpoint. So when you talk about sustaining, I would talk about thriving. I would talk about how does India really become the go-to market at a time when, the global gaming industry is facing headwinds. Let's face it, there is a lot of investment that has gone into building great games, discovery, user acquisition, and many aspects of, gaming that are, have been big drivers of growth earlier, are facing challenges because discovery, and it's just screen time is being occupied by many people doing many different things. Gaming is benefited, at least in a country like India. People who have moved away from television, moved away from print, it's the OTT, it's the entertainment, it's the social, and then video gaming, which has seen a large part of the screen time. So for me, honestly, Abhishek, it is about, how will gaming industry really thrive over the next 5 years? And what are those drivers, right? I think the big difference in an India market compared to anywhere else in the world, that if we look at our average revenue per user or what a user in India spends compared to anywhere in the world is minuscule, right? We are probably the lowest, and we have a lot of Japanese companies here, and they know, and Korean companies, which probably will be amongst the highest ARPU markets. So I think the world for India, with one of these countries is somewhere in the middle. So the opportunity for growth, because we are starting from a low base, is exceedingly high. And India is the fastest growing country in the world. I mean, 6.5%, 7% in today's times. And every time there is a mobility shift in incomes, it's 100, 200 million people. So if you think of, 200 million people moving up the value chain with more money in their pocket to spend, I think gaming as an industry will definitely benefit. Now, the key is, do we get more people like Sohn or Sohn himself to do more in India to bring global gaming content which Indians like to play? Do we get more Indian studios to invest more to create local Indian games that Indians would play on, play out? And how do you make the value proposition of video gaming actually one where it is a choice for entertainment versus anything else? So I think that is really the goal, and therefore I think IDGS, CII can actually bring the global world and India together to make that happen. I think that will be the big differentiator in the next few years. How well are we able to do that? How well are we to be able to partner globally? How are we able to attract the right players to come in? And I think one area where I strongly believe India will shine differently compared to rest of the world, and probably at a time when we, of course, as Jetsons are also deeply invested in, is in the entire area of esports, right? Esports is really the best playing gamers in any title. And, you know, the recognition that a gamer gets today, both as a content creator and as a gamer, and the livelihoods that they make, you know, is now very visible to all. The ability to then use larger number of those people to create sports properties, to be able to create communities, and a whole ecosystem around video gaming and esports together. As a matter of fact, Amita, you know, we had once discussed that, that the Indian Digital Gaming Society should be called Indian Digital Gaming and Esports Society, because we'll probably be the most, I would say, innovative country in the world when we look at these societies together. So just a way to think about the future.
And that's absolutely right. And now esports is recognized as a multi-sport event, you know, by the Indian government. So, and also now. Yes, I was saying esports is now recognized as a multi-sport event by the Indian government. Athletes, gamers are now treated on par with athletes. So the incentives are equivalent to what a traditional sport athlete would have. So I think, yeah, you're right. I mean, with these incentives coming in, India is poised, you know, to take the next step. So Sean, coming to you, you know, as someone with extensive experience in the global gaming ecosystem, how do you see India's gaming market position itself on the world stage, and what lessons can be learned from mature markets like South Korea that can be leveraged in India?
I won't go into too much detail, but about the market prospect, because Rajan just explained about the potential of Indian gaming market. But I just can draw some like earlier example how Chinese gaming market started to develop back in the days, like late 90s and early 2000. Before the starting of the broadband penetration, there were Japanese game developers who start making games based on the Chinese cultural or historical heritage, which has swept across all East Asian markets. And then Chinese game developers look at that example and they try on their own, and they dominate the local market and they expand into the global market. I think India can follow the similar step, but much in the faster pace. So I think India as an industry should attract a lot of global game developers to come to India, maybe launch something for the Indian market, and also make something from India for global and also for Indian market. So I think that should happen, or that is happening right now, because we are also part of that. Yeah.
Well said. Rajeev, coming to you. So how has the animation industry, you know, grown as a result of the boom in gaming, especially when it comes to the Indian market?
Yeah, Abhishek, first of all, thanks a lot for this question. Not a tough questions. And before starting anything, I would like to say thanks to all of you for joining us this session, and I'm sure it is going to be a fruitful session for all of us. And Mike, thanks to Anita and all the members of CII for organizing such a big event. A special thanks to Neelam and Madhurima. Where are you, Madhurima? Okay. And Subhash. Yeah, they deserve an applause. Yeah. And thanks, Anita, for initiating, Amita, all these initiatives. So, Abhishek, probably I am the person sitting on this podium, which is not having exactly the background from the gaming, but I am from this industry from last more than 25 years. And what I have noticed, the change which is happening is that who could have thought 25 years back that our Prime Minister is going to talk about the industry from the Red Fort. So he spoke about this industry. He spoke almost 2 minutes about the gaming. So it clearly shows that there is a huge potential. And when the government is intended to grow this industry, then I'm sure that things are going to be very, very big. So as Anita has also mentioned in terms of a population, Rajan has also mentioned. So the biggest advantage what I see in India is that we do have a population where my friends from Japan and Korea are lacking a lot. So I personally believe that this century belongs to Bharat. This century belongs to us because we are having population where content can be consumed, where new concepts can come, where creativity can come to a new innovations. Only thing is that industry has to be a little bit more organized, and CII is doing this kind of efforts. I'm sure it is going to benefit a lot of students and community to come out with the new ideas, new innovative thinkings. But yeah, I am very, very confident that for a country like us, there is a huge amount of growth in the gaming industry. As Rajan has also mentioned about the esports, I think that is going to be the future, where a lot of youngsters are going to involve. Of course, not like me, because we are not into that kind of frame nowadays for going to the esports. But I've seen my kids, they are involved a lot. They are spending a lot of time. And best thing which I liked about the Rajan statement is that now the people are considering gaming as a serious job, which was not there 10 years back or 25 years back. So from my point of view, it's a huge industry, huge potential, and I'm sure that all of you are going to grow something, new ideas for this.
Thanks. So Rajan, let's pivot to infrastructure for a minute. So where do you think are the key infrastructure gaps, whether it's in game development, esports, or even when we talk about cloud and now Web3, that need to be addressed so that India's full potential can be unlocked?
Yeah, I think, that is definitely a big area. And again, it is one where I think the biggest gap is in the manpower and the ability to skill manpower to a point that we can become globally competitive. And this will apply across, pretty much every aspect of gaming, because gaming is one industry that brings about so many skills under one roof, right? It's engineering, it's art, it's design, it's animation, and the world has recognized. So the government has, announced a National Center of Excellence plan. First time allocated about 400 crores to do that. CII and other industry bodies, along with government, have set up a public-private partnership to be able to create the future of skills for this sector, the Indian Institute of Creative Technologies. And 10-acre plot of land has been allocated at the Film City in Mumbai. I am on the board along with the Secretary of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, who is actually chairing it. And I must say, the first board meeting that we had, the entire decision-making, I mean, look, you were talking of government and we've discussed on how this should move forward, was actually handed over to the private sector, right? So this is one place where we not only have to create the skills what are needed today, but the skills of the future. So the industry, academia, collaboration to bring young talent to the fore, to me, is the biggest challenge when it comes to the growth of the industry. Physical infrastructure, definitely. I mean, and therefore, when I say we future, we imagine, we look at, esports stadiums. We look at, you have gaming hotels around the world, right? The world is moving, because we are 50 years late, right, to the video gaming industry. The video gaming industry started literally 50 years ago. We never bought consoles. What you said, we didn't have, like Korea, internet in your homes, high-speed internet where you could go and compete, right? So we have to play catch-up. For that, we have to leapfrog. So I do not believe that we need to invest in today's infrastructure. We got to think of the future. And therefore, elements like AI, immersiveness, I mean, there's so much that is happening around the world to make that entertainment experience better, right? That we need to be at the forefront of that. So I think the National Center of Excellence, bringing state, industry together, and the good part is it's in a hub and spoke model. So while there will be one center, every state has been encouraged to create their own centers, create their own curriculum, right? And also decide how they would see this industry as a percentage of their state GDP. The moment we have an ambition as large as that, you know, how much does video gaming, esports contribute to my economy, right? We do it at a country and we do it at every state level. I think we'll make a massive shift. And it is being done through a collaborative process. So my appeal to everybody sitting here is, see how you can add value to this, right? We need the support of everybody to really shape this industry, you know, for the future. And everything else, I think global players, as you know, are coming into India in a big way. If you see our data centers and you see amount of, you know, data that we are creating, gaming actually becomes a great platform to deliver any digital value add, right? As Jet Synthesis, we actually built gaming because we said we want to play a key role in the daily digital life of every, you know, Gen Z or a digital always generation. And our gateway to building trust with them, understanding them, is through the world of video gaming. So video gaming, gamification can go into education, it can go into healthcare, it can go into every aspect, right, as we look at it. So I think the only thing that limits us is our imagination of video gaming in India. And if we can imagine that correctly and help build the right talent and put the right infrastructure, I think we can really shape the future of the world. I know it's very optimistic, but that's the way
No, not at all. I mean,
like
you
to
know,
see the world.
I mean, I think gaming as part of your education curriculum, I think is a very realistic objective now. The government's been talking about it. In fact, just I think about 15 hours ago, Satya Nadella announced the world's first quantum chip as well. So you can imagine the amount of processing that is now possible even on a small device like a mobile phone, which enables more access to immersive content, AI, and all of that as well. So, no, absolutely. Sohn, moving to esports, right? So esports has seen phenomenal growth in India, yet we've had some challenges in how do we monetize esports to its full potential. So what strategies can be deployed to make it more commercially sustainable and high growth?
Yeah, it's a very tough question to answer, actually. As you pointed out, I think esports in India has been successful to attract enough eyeballs, but we haven't reached the level of making it profitable, to be honest. Even the most popular game in India, like BGMI, I don't know whether I can disclose it, but we don't make money out of esports. We invest in esports so far. So I think there are still some gap between the popularity of esports, but the awareness from the brand side, whether this really helps them to build the brand value for them. I think there's some gap. Maybe we have to educate them better. We have to prove them on a continuous basis. So I think it's been maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years since we see some starting of esports in India. I think we still yet to reach the profitability or reach the size that we want to reach. Maybe we need a few years more, I guess. Yeah.
Pivoting to more regulation, Rajan, so there are regulatory discussions going on around gaming, esports. So what kind of policy, public policy interventions do you feel will help sort of streamline, the growth potential?
So, I think the regulatory piece which is being discussed is primarily around the real money gaming and, all of that, which I think, of course, the government will work with that set of stakeholders. Coming to video gaming and esports, I think, here we look at it more as a self-regulation for the companies that are producing content. How do you really create an opportunity in a game where if someone has been playing for a long time, you force a break before they come back again. I mean, and there are some very good global policies out there that have worked, right? So I think what we encourage as IDGS is responsible gaming. We encourage all game developers, publishers to really see how they can, take the care of the interests of the gamers as they move along, and it works in everybody's interest, right? And I think in that light, it is something that we are looking at very seriously. But when it comes to other areas, right? I mean, if you look at how should we, nominate a team that will represent the country in an esports global event, I think we will need to go through the process of, you know, how do we really build a consensus on the best way to do that? Because globally it is done differently. The sports codes in India, you know, how does esports? So I think those are the areas which we will need to figure out. Because if we see an Olympics of esports already being announced, and we know India has the largest youth population in the world, and, you know, obviously because our gamers are playing, you know, athletes, I don't even want to use the word gamers, are now building themselves to become the best in the world, there is a huge roadmap, because this will also bring training centers, it will bring coach, it brings the entire ecosystem of sports watching, etc., right? And what Sohn was saying, that today companies like his and ours, we're all investing, right, in this entire area, because it is what we believe will become fairly large over a period of time. But it's key, therefore, to get these pieces right, you know, and I think that's where, you know, government, industry, CII, and many other stakeholders, and we are the first body in IDG, we actually engage the gamers, because we also want what do our consumers really want to do and how they want to see it, right? Because the moment we are able to have a balanced, collaborative, integrated approach, whatever we do will be the right thing for the country, right? And that's what we encourage, you know, as CII.
Yeah, and I've always found this a little intriguing that the way Indian game, the AVGC setup is under MeitY, and you've got esports under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. So at some point, do you see this converging, and does it make sense for it to converge and be under one body? Especially now when we look at even Web3 decentralization coming in, you have to have standard policies across the board.
No, it's actually now under MeitY and MIB. So there is a third ministry, right? Because it is an entertainment industry. And as a matter of fact, I think video gaming is disrupting the media and entertainment sector. Because, you know, people are consuming less content and playing more games because it's a thing. And like what Sohn was saying, for brands to understand that when you're playing a game, you have full, you know, attention of the user, because you can't be, you know, like you could be watching television and walking around and not paying attention, but you can't be playing a game and not, you know, giving your best. So I think as these aspects come out, you know, I think new areas will emerge, because we all know, as much as we talk of gaming in India, or we get revenue from ads and we get from consumers or in-app purchases, the more a consumer pays, the more a brand will pay you. I think that's given, because for a brand, when someone is paying, means you're valuing what you're watching, and they want to be associated with content that people value. So if you really go to think, that is a virtuous cycle. Right. So as we see greater in-app purchases happening there, I believe brands, etc., who are going to engage with those audiences and don't know how to, will engage more. And that will also answer your first question of, you know, why that growth and what could be some of the triggers. But we have to create an ecosystem that enables that to happen.
Rajeev, your thoughts on how policy in animation might be leveraged for policy towards esports and gaming?
Yeah, Abhishek, from my point of view, one of the best things which has happened in last 1 decade is that formulation of AVGC policy. And I would like to say, really, it's a great effort from my friend Ashish Kulkarni, Biren Ghosh, and all many others, people like Manjal Shaw. So this formulation of the AVG policy is the building pillar for the growth of the creative industry. So as a gaming is also the part of a creative industry, so certainly the formulation of AVGC, even in the states also, because if we have to grow this field as an industry, we need to have some kind of infrastructure. And infrastructure is not only in one aspect, it requires all the aspects. As Rajan was saying, that gaming is not only programming, it is a great art also. So I would like to see that the art should also get enhancement. As a center of excellence is going to play a very important role in enhancing the infrastructure for the art. And this is happening under the AVGC policy also. Best thing, I would say that the government is focused. Although government does not work in many fields, but yeah, still in this field there is an improvement. There are formulation of the policies are happening. We are in a new phase of policy making, so I'm sure a lot of hiccups and new changes are going to happen. From my point of view, one of the area which the industry should focus is that I belong to UP. I am a UP ka bhaiya, and there is no harm in saying. आज की डेट में तो हम लोग बोल सकते हैं यूपी का भैया. So, and I'm from a B city. I grown up in a city like Bareilly, which is in between Delhi and Lucknow. So what industry should focus is that real talent is also there. We focus mainly on the A cities, and we don't cater the aspirations of the people of the B cities and C cities. There should be infrastructure building in the B and C cities also, because there are a lot of hesitation over there in terms of approaching Delhi. Like, I would like to say to IDGS and Amita that you should also plan some kind of events in B cities also, because everybody cannot come from Bareilly, Lucknow, Shahjahanpur kind of places to these, to attend to these events. And it is not that there are logistical issues. There are some hesitation of personalities. यार मैं दिल्ली जाऊँगा, कहाँ जाऊँगा, ऐसे जाऊँगा, कैसे जाऊँगा, like that. So if we do the efforts cumulatively in terms of developing the infrastructure for B cities, C cities, give them the confidence. Ultimately, any industry means that paisa, how we are going to make money in this industry. If there is a paisa, if there is a money in this industry, that makes a real sense for anybody. If we have a growth of users playing games, but there is no money in that, if paisa nahi hai to kuch nahi hai kind of a thing. So we have to build up that kind of infrastructure where people should feel convinced that if you are going to be connected with the gaming industry, there is going to be money earning kind of a procedure for you. Yeah. So AVGC policies, from my point of view, is one of the best things which has happened in last 10 years.
Fair point. Sean, coming to a little more of futuristic technologies, right? So we spoke a little bit about some of them. So Web3, AI, blockchain, cloud gaming, they're all now sort of reshaping the global gaming landscape. We're seeing more and more titles incorporate some of these technologies, infrastructure also. So how do you see these technologies affecting India's gaming ecosystem over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, that's again very tough question to answer. I don't know why all the tough question comes to me. I don't know whether it's true, but I have that feeling. So maybe just to make it a little fun, I can maybe choose what I feel working or will work, or what is not going to work, in my opinion, personal opinion. So I think Web3 might not be helping gaming that much, in my opinion. Okay. Maybe Web3 needs gaming for their own growth. And cloud, I'm also a little skeptical. I can explain like 5 minutes why I'm skeptical, but I don't want to go into that. But I think AI will definitely help game development, and also how people can enjoy gaming, I think, in a big way. So I think we see already many Gen AI tools are used for game developments. There are a lot of layoffs for programmers starting from the US. I think it was coming to all other countries. But I think it will help a lot of non-coders to make a game to certain levels. I think you still need to understand how programming works to make a top quality game, but I think it will change the landscape how game can be made. Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah.
You know what you should do, Abhishek? This was Sean. You should ask the audience. How many feel that, you know, Web3, I think 3 areas you said, Gen AI and cloud gaming, right? You should see what the audience feels about the future of this. You can raise your hand.
No, I'm sure. All right, so I think we'll wrap up with one question to all of you, and Rajan, we'll start with you. If you had to predict one major breakthrough or shift in India's gaming industry in 25, what would that be?
See, I think the shift has already happened, right? So I'm talking of where the growth will come. See, I think the overall trajectory is definitely there. I think in-app purchase spends, right, in India is something that I believe will accelerate, right? Because I think that's one big difference that we have had. we of course need to encourage game developers to create games that can build that, that capability. I think we have focused too long on, ad-led kind of monetization because we always fear that, oh, it's a hedge for people not. I think we have to be bold. We have to create greater games and trust that if you have created a great game, an Indian will pay. So to me, that's the one big, shift in consumer behavior. But again, to believe in that, there needs again, investment in the right content, in the right kind of capabilities. And I do believe 2025 will see whether it's an Indian product or a global product, doesn't matter, but Indians will spend a lot more on that. This is one shift that I believe.
So Sean, to you, this is an easy question.
I think, I believe, in addition to few technology that we talked about, I think the VR, XR, and like location-based technology might give us, show us some breakthrough in gaming. I think I'm again going back to 90s, early 2000, how game industry has changed through penetration of broad internet. I think that sort of breakthrough can happen in gaming by adapting this kind of technology in the way of how the core gameplay works for gamers. And if Indian gaming industry can adapt it quicker than others, or if Indian game industry can make it into the mainstream, then I think we have a good chance of making breakthrough. Yeah.
That's an excellent point. Rajeev, we'll end with your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, Abhishek, if you ask me about this question, then my answer would be like this. First thing first, that formulation of the AVGC policy is a great step, which is really going to change the industry landscape. Second thing is that when I was growing up, in terms of a career, the first and foremost career used to be, yeah, engineer ban jao, doctor ban jao, like that kind of a thing. But today the thing are changing in mindset of the parents. If today my children would ask me to become a game developer, I won't mind it also. Right, okay, yeah, why don't you go for that? So that perception of gaming or creativity as one of our optional career is a very good step which is happening in the society. So when this perception will start coming to a low level, so automatically more people will come in this field. More talented people will come in this field. So acceptance of this gaming industry as one of a career option is, I think, one of a very good change which is happening in society.
So due to paucity of time, we can't take questions right now, but I'm sure Raj and Sean, Rajiv will be available to discuss offline. I'd like to thank all of you for your insightful discussion here, and I hope everybody enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you very much. Madhurima, over to you.